Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alicia. I post new tutorials every Thursday, primarily on tumblers. But I've done a few pen tutorials in the past, and one of them I showed you how to turn these pens into these like water globe. Sorry, the glitter in this one turned really blue. It's not supposed to be blue, but it did. But it's kind of cool. I liked it. So I kept it for myself. Anyway, so I had a few people ask me the question, can you glitter the bottom portion of the pen? The answer to that question is yes. And so in this video, I'm going to show you how to do that. And I'm going to show you doing the Tack-It method, and I'm going to show you non-Tack-It method to show you why I don't like the non-Tack-It method. So if you're interested to see how I did this, stick around and I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right, so these pens come in multicolor packs, and so I matched up glitter to the pens that I wanted to use. And so the first thing we're going to do is disassemble these pens, and so they come apart really easily. You just pull, and so when you pull the one side out and then pull the other side out, you're left with these chambers. And make sure you store these in a safe place. So now the issue is to mount them. They don't fit on pencils. Normally I use pencils when I'm doing the Inkjoy gel pens, but they don't fit. And I don't want them to fit too snug anyway, because these are such thin chambers that I don't want to glue them to the sticks. So I'm using a stick that's, I think it's like 0.2 or a dowel. Let's use the proper term, a dowel. And I wrap masking tape around them until it gets to the point when I put it in the chamber, it is snug. So like that wasn't enough and it poked through. Do not want that. So I just put a tad bit more on and I put it in the chamber again, and it's nice and snug, and that's what I want. So I'm going to prep all these dowels, and then I will be ready to start prepping these pens. And I'm going to prep these pens like I prep everything else. I'm going to do a very light sand on them, and then I'm going to wipe them with 91% alcohol. So I'm going to apply these pens using the Tack-It method. So I use it on all of them, but on three of the pens, I actually tack the glitter down. I use holographic and I tack the glitter down. On the other ones, I don't. So I will talk to you about that after I'm done putting all of in hyperspeed, the glue on, and then you let it dry for 10 to 15 minutes. I only use one coat. So on this first pen, the multicolor, I'm going to use ultrafine shimmer, which is this iridescent, pearlescent glitter. It is a super fine, it's almost like mica powder. And I'm just going to varnish this down, and that is it for this. I love this. This is definitely my favorite pen, and I'm like giving you a spoiler on what I think is my favorite. So, so I varnished that down, put it aside. So now I am going to put this glitter in. I'm just going to use a white glitter in the chamber. So I'm not going to put any water in. I'm just going to leave it glitter. So that's another thing differently that you can do with these chambers, is you don't have to make them, do the water mixture. I just like the glitter in there. I think that looks really cool. So we do that for a couple of these pens. And so I like the look of the white with these, the multicolored. So now I'm going to come in, and I think this is Gadgets and Gizmos. It's this bluish, greenish color. Teal, some people would argue it's not teal. Who knows? And Kyle Pratt, if you're listening to this. Anyway, so I'm going to varnish this down and get it nice and smooth. And I'm gonna jump and do all of these chambers before I fill all of the second half at this point. So I'm gonna just get along with this green. So this green is not holographic, but it is a color changing. So it did work really well for varnishing this down using the Tack-It method. And it has a really cool like greenish and yellowish effect. So I really like this green. It's this like plasma greenish. And I showed all the colors in the beginning, and I will list them in the description box down below, as I always do. So You know, I will have you know, all the products I use list and linked down below, or, you know, at least where you can find them. And so I'm going to get done with this pen, and look at that. Oh my God, so gorgeous. So now I'm going to go into where I'm not going to actually tack it down. I'm going to just sprinkle it on, and then like just, I hate that, I got to cut that out. I'm going to just put it on and then flatten it out, but not varnish it down. So there is a difference. So I'm just going to use my paper to just kind of like flatten it. Yeah, not varnish, flatten. I don't know. Does it make sense to you guys? So that's how I do that. And so now it's sort of this fluffy glitter instead of, and so if you look at my old video, the Mod Podge versus Tack-It, I say when you varnish it down, it's, you know, varnished down, it's all nice and smooth. But when you don't, it's like fluffy glitter. So I'm using this rose gold, and I'm doing the same effect where I'm just gonna flatten it with the paper, but not varnish it down. All right, so now that these are dry already, so you don't have, there's no dry time, which is really cool. So I'm gonna come in with my spray paint, and I'm going to give a coat to all of these. I'm gonna give 2 coats because I wanna make sure that my epoxy doesn't repel. And so while these are drying, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill these wells. And so here's another way that you can apply glitter to the inside. You can use polyacrylic to coat the inside of the chamber. And then once that, and let it stand for like 5 minutes so that all the excess drips out, because you don't want any clumping. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the glitter in when that is done. So I'm going to let that sit for a minute. Then I'm going to move on to the next chamber, and I am going to fill this one with water. So which color is this? Oh, okay. So this is this green, this holographic green, and I put the water in first. So sometimes if you put too much glitter in and you put it at the bottom, you have a hard time getting it to release, and then you wind up with a large water bottle or water bubble. So I put a little water in first, and I'm not doing any other mixture. Like, I'm not putting in the glycerin. Yeah, that's it. The glycerin or baby oil. I'm just doing straight water because I want these to like really flow. And it was weird because this one I put in a lot of glitter and I put in just water, and it won't like mix. It won't, I can't get the bubble to shift the glitter in there, but it gives it a really cool effect anyway. So I liked it, and I kept it instead of trying to redo it. So I keep shaking it to try to get it to move, and it doesn't really move. But like I said, I actually like the look. So it's kind of like almost like glitter and glue. It's almost like glitter glue in there. That's another thing you do is glitter glue. I'm just thinking of that right now. You could put glitter glue in, which would be really cool. So I pick up that pen with the polyacrylic, and I just put some glitter in there, shake it around to get it nice and coated. I use the chunky version, and then I go in with the fine version to make sure that I cover up any bare spots that the chunky didn't get, because this chamber is so small that the chunky didn't give like complete coverage. Whatever's left in there, you can leave in there if you want, or I dump it out. Don't reuse it because it's covered with polyacrylic, so it's contaminated. And then that's it. So I'm going to come in with my pen. Again, I'm going to fill it with water, and I'm going to put the rose gold in, but I'm going to put a lot less in this time and see about the water, like it shifting. And I couldn't get it. I couldn't get the glitter to move around. It is so weird. After it sat for a while, it did. And I say that later on that I was able to get the glitter to move, but it was like frozen in there. It was like I was putting glue in there. It was so weird. Normally you should be having more movement, especially with water. The glitter should be moving around. So I shake it up a few times. I can't get it to, I'm like, whatever. So I put it aside, but I do put a lot less in this time. So again, this is preference, guys. How much glitter you want to put in, how much water you want to put in. Do you want to mix in the baby oil? Do you want to just do it? Like, everybody has their own way of doing it, and there's so many different ways of doing it. So this one, I am just going to put just straight glitter in again. Just going to put glitter in the chamber. And, you know, if you don't want to use, it's such a little amount of glitter, but if you're really, really like stingy with your glitter, or you're like coming close to the end of it, and you can just coat it with the polyacrylic and use less glitter. But it's really, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot. So that's why I'm like okay with filling the chamber with just glitter and just having glitter in there. So it's up to you how you want to do it. I'm just showing you different ways to do it. So here they are, all filled with their respective whatevers, and I'm loving them. And so now these pens are dry, and I'm going to come in with a coat of epoxy. And so really super thin coats, really, really thin. You don't want them too thick because then it makes that pen thick, and that's not the look that I'm going for, especially with these Tack-It ones. Now, you don't even have to use epoxy. You can use, you can do them with your Bright Tone. I know a lot of people use Crystalac, so do your coats of Bright Tone as you would normally do. Or I have the StarCraft Clear Coat that I got from Annie Up Graphic Supply, and I like, and I could have also used that, and I didn't, but those are just options as well. And so so I slowed this down because I did this on hyperspeed. So it's really weird, guys. I had epoxy left over, of course, because, I mixed up too much epoxy. And so I decided that I'm going to do one last chamber, and I prepped it real quick off camera. It's gold. And so you can mix your glitter in to your epoxy and then apply it to your chamber that way. So that's another way that you can apply your glitter as well. And you're going to get a nice thin coat. It's not going to be like really like, lumpy and bumpy and maybe even require sanding. I'm trying to avoid all of that and keep these chambers thin because the pens are thin overall. So and I used a quick set epoxy, so in 4 hours these will be ready to work with. I torched them as I always torch everything to make sure there's no bubbles. And then after 4 hours, I'm checking these pens, and most of them are pretty smooth, and that's it. It just needed the one coat. But actually on that one, so that one was a little bit lumpy because I didn't varnish that down. No, the rose gold one was lumpy. That one was okay. It's a little bit thicker, but it wound up being okay. But for some reason, I guess I didn't get a bubble on the multicolored one. So I just did a quick light little sanding to get that little bubble off. And then I'm going to put one more super thin coat of epoxy on. And with the rose gold one, it just, I gave it a little bit of sanding. It was a little bit rough. Again, this is the one that I didn't do. I didn't varnish it down. I just kind of flattened it out. So, and I expected that with the other one, the really deep purple one, but I lucked out with that. So just a quick sanding, wipe it down with the 91% alcohol. Then we are ready to put our epoxy on these. And once they're all epoxied and ready to put back together, I will show you that. Oh, also, I want to mention that I use a coffee filter to wipe these down rather than a paper towel because the paper towels leave lint and the coffee filters do not. So that's why I use coffee filters to wipe down my cups and my pens before I do their final coats of epoxy. So I know I've said that before, but I try to make sure that I include everything like it's a beginner's watching these videos because I know some of you are beginners and I know some of you are more advanced and you're just watching to support, which thank you, Phyllis, because you watch all of my videos and I so appreciate you and you comment on everything too. So, all right, quick torch. And in second times for you, these pens will be all ready to assemble. And hours later, here I am reassembling these pens. So pull them all out. I am going to glue these pens on. You don't have to. I would recommend it for the water ones so that there's no leakage because I use that kind of as a seal. But for the glitter ones, if you want to leave the option to change it out, you don't have to glue it. Completely up to you. So I'm just going to hyperspeed and put all of these pens back together. And then I am going to be ready for my final remarks. Oh, and another thing I want you guys to know about these pens is they are refillable. They do sell refills for them. So make sure you save that link so that when they run out, you can refill. Okay, now I'm ready for my final remarks. All right, guys, these pens are done. So these overall are really simple to make. There's no real super skill set on this. So the answer to the question is yes, you can glitter the bottom part. The only thing that I would say is that So like on this one where I didn't do the Tack-It method and varnish it down, this does become a little bit flatter, so it kind of takes away from the streamline of the pen. So if somebody likes the thinner pen, then I wouldn't suggest this. But if they like it thicker, then go ahead and do this. So it's really a matter of preference. It's probably even be hard for you to see any bubbling. And this is finally moving. I don't know what happened. It's sitting for a couple of days, made it move more. And that's it, guys, for this tutorial. This one is my favorite. I absolutely love this one. So tell me which one's your favorite. What do you think? Now, obviously, you can mix and match and use any color you want, any color combination. So it's pretty cool. People really seem to like these pens. I think I sell these more than the regular ones. Like, people pick these up first. So again, you know, that is it for this tutorial, guys. Thank you all for watching. As always, make sure if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share, comment. I love to hear your feedback. Go ahead and check out my Facebook group. It's a craft thing, and I know some of the links weren't working. I think I fixed everything. Also, check out my Instagram and Glitter Makes Its Superstars page for their fun giveaways on Sundays. And I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.